Well, howdy everybody. Freedom Outlaw here, and I am not ashamed to say that I'm an outlaw. Not a criminal, but I am an outlaw. And I kind of spoke about that on a previous video if you want to go find it. But I've been sitting here in the man cave, and so we're going to have a little man cave talk this evening, Saturday evening. It's thundering outside, lightning. We're getting some rain here in Flagstaff during the monsoon season. We need it really bad. We've had quite a few good rains the last 2 or 3 days. Anyway, I'm sitting here thinking about freedom, as I always do. So I want to share something with you. Back in the 80s, mid-80s, I was out here in Arizona. I was by myself, my family at that time. I was married at the time. My kids were young. And so they were still back in Ohio. I made a trip out here to visit some people. And I thought, well, I've never done it before, so I'm going to head north out of Tucson. I want to go through the Navajo Indian Reservation, cut over to the New Mexico side of the reservation, and head on up into Durango, Colorado. So away I went in if you remember those little AMC station wagons, that's what I had. Very economical, very dependable. Anyway, got to Durango, hung around there for a little bit. Oh yeah, I did stop at Four Corners, which was interesting but kind of anticlimactic. But I stood there where all four states come together. Went into Colorado, hung out for a little bit, and headed up north on 550, I believe it is. Goes north out of Durango. And there's 3 major mountain passes on that route. And the highest mountain pass is called Red Mountain Pass. And Red Mountain Pass is over 11,000 feet. And so I was either a little before I actually got to the pass or a little bit afterwards. I saw this little fire trail heading back off of 550, and so I thought, well, I'm just going to drive back there for a little ways and see what's back there. So I don't know, I went back 3, 4, 5 miles, something like that. And all of a sudden it opened up into this most beautiful, majestic place. How am I going to describe this? I don't know. And it's too bad, we didn't have cell phones back in that time, and I didn't have a camera with me, so I wasn't able to capture it. But it's forever in my mind and my spirit, my soul. So it opened up. Like I said, I'm over 11,000 feet, but yet there's still mountain peaks all around me, much, much higher. If you know anything about that section of the Rocky Mountains in Colorado, they have what they call 14ers. What that means is that I think the official count is about 53 mountain peaks over 14,000 feet. So they call them 14ers. So here I am at 11,000 feet, and there's mountain peaks still above me going up beyond, above 14,000 feet. And I'm in this place, this opening of mountain peaks all around me, and just grove after grove of aspens, quaking aspens, one of my favorite trees. So I was just driving along there, and I found this little place I could pull up. It's kind of like a little knoll, little bump, but it was perfectly flat, and I thought, well, I could park here just for a little while, and it was right beside a beautiful little stream. So I thought, well, I'll just park here for a while and just kind of soak this in, and then I'll continue on my journey. Well, I ended up staying up there 2 nights, and the 3rd day I headed out. I didn't want to leave. I did not want to leave. And always when I traveled, I carried something to drink, something to eat, so I was okay. Just laid my seat back and just slept in my seat. I don't know how to articulate this. human language falls extremely short when you're trying to describe such purity, beauty, majesty, the masterpiece of the Creator's hand. How do you put that into words? Those kind of experiences cannot be articulated to do it justice. It's something you feel, you experience, you absorb. It gets into your mind, your spirit, your soul. So all of the pictures are in my mind up here, my memory, wherever that's at. So like I said, there's these groves of aspen trees all over. It's like a high mountain valley, because all these mountain peaks are still up over 14,000 feet, and I'm just at over 11,000 feet. So this is a high mountain valley. It's huge, with just groves of aspen trees. So I went down and just sat in the middle of those aspen trees. I didn't see any wild game. Maybe they were watching me. Maybe they saw me. I didn't see them. I think I saw a few small game. But I just sat there, leaned up against an aspen tree, and just sat there for hours, just trying to soak this in, to absorb this feeling of freedom and wildness and purity and majesty and whew. It was a spiritual experience. It was just, I can't do it justice. I spent a lot of time in those aspens, what I call the Creator's sanctuary. And then, like I said, there was a little stream that ran by where I was parked. So I thought, well, I'm just going to follow this back a little ways. And so I went back, I don't know. How do you know how far? I don't remember. I went back a little ways and it started opening up into this mini canyon. These big, huge, massive rock walls on all sides of me. And I went back as far as I could, and there was this waterfall coming down, maybe 75, 100 feet, coming down from a higher elevation. And right at the base of that was a pool of water. I don't remember how big it was. I remember getting into it, not very long because it was so cold. This was in July. I don't know if it was over my head. I didn't wade into it all the way. My God, it was so cold. And you know, I had taken baths in some cold streams before, but whew. But I washed off, and it felt so refreshing and so pure. And I just stood there and just tried to absorb all of this wildness, this freedom. I wish I had pictures to show you. And you know, I've never been back there to this day, but I've got to go back. I keep saying to myself, one of these days, before I die, I've got to go back and see if I can find that place somehow. I wish now I would have kept a diary and just wrote down, you know, some details. But I didn't. And I still don't keep a diary to this day. It just felt so pure, so free, and yet so wild. And the reality struck me that as beautiful and majestic as this is, if you violate the laws of nature, you don't respect it, move with it, it'll kill you. Absolutely kill you. You know, you can freeze to death. You can die of dehydration. It's thundering outside now. We're getting some more rain. You know, a bear could rip you from from top to bottom. Anything can happen. You know, you're hiking up in those places, you fall and break a leg and knock yourself out on a rock. I don't know, you know, you die easy. It's all kind of things that can happen. So you have to realize that you're not the boss up there. No, everyone that thinks their poop don't stink, they need to get back into those wild places and just absorb it and realize just how small we are, how insignificant we are when we step into the Creator's sanctuary, the Creator's paradise. Because it makes you feel small. It made me feel small. You know, I felt like I'm at the mercy of this. You know, and no telephones, no TV, no commercials. Commercials drive me crazy. That's why I can't watch TV. I like a good movie, but I can't watch TV. Commercials just completely drive me out of my mind. No pollution, at least, you know, up that high. No political bullshit. No lies, no deception, no hatred. Just pure wilderness. The Creator's sanctuary. There were no news media, no music. And I like good music, don't get me wrong. I listen to music, but I didn't need it up there. In those 2.5 days, almost 3 days, I felt like I went through a cleansing. Yeah, it felt like a cleansing. Like, well, I didn't want to leave. I knew my family was back in Ohio and I had to get back, but I didn't want to leave. I did not want to leave that beautiful place. And the wind coming down through that high mountain valley, that gentle breeze. And I just let it talk to me. Can I articulate to you? Can I put into words what I was hearing in that beautiful place? No. It's an experience. I could try to write it down on paper, but it would fall short. You just have to be there in that present moment. And I was thinking, you know, 200 years ago, 300 years ago, and beyond, who stepped foot where I'm at right now? Of course, I always think that when I get back in the wild places, I stop and I look around and I think, who walked through here? Who stood where I'm standing right now? Who touched this tree that I'm touching right now? I always think of those things. What's the history of this place? And just in those 2.5 days, I could feel that all of what's called civilization was just getting farther and farther away from me, just in that short amount of time. It's like I didn't care about it. I didn't want to know about it anymore. I didn't want to be a part of it anymore. Man, oh man. Of course, I kept thinking of my ex-wife, or of course my wife at that time, and my kids, and I certainly wanted to see them, but what a pull. What a pull. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you because, 200, 300 years ago, 400 years ago, being in a place like that, moving through the Rocky Mountains as the indigenous people did and the mountain men, freedom. Freedom. No traffic lights up there, no speed limits, no no asphalt roads, no traffic, no artificial sounds. Oh yes, and at night, oh my God, at night, over 11,000 feet, I felt like I could pluck the stars. No artificial synthetic lights, nothing artificial there. And you lay there and you look at the moon and the stars. You can't, they're innumerable. How do you count that? I've been out camping many times and looked up at the night sky and it was absolutely breathtaking. But over 11,000 feet, whoa. It's breathtaking. Absolutely breathtaking. And of course, I thought about the biblical reference. It says, when I consider the heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars which you have ordained, what is man that you are mindful of him? I felt so small. I felt so insignificant. Politicians need to get back in those places and just strip down and realize just how small they are, just how insignificant they are. To stand face to face with the laws of nature instead of their political bullshit. That's all it is. It's poison, it's toxic, it's evil, it's demonic. I hate it. All you hear on the news media, if you want to listen to it, this one said that, this one said that, this one did that. Did you see that? Did you notice that? Oh my God. It's like I said, they need a backwoods education in natural law. Did you see how Trump was standing? Did you hear what that Democrat said? Did you see Trump's hand? Did you see Trump's hair? Did you see this person? Did you hear what they said? I could puke. I'd like to puke all over him. But not up there, over 11,000 feet. Freedom. I've got to go back. I've got to go back. Hey, just wanted to share that with you. I'm out of here.